Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm the founder of Dementia Prevention UK. Dementia Prevention UK is a charity that is here to educate the public that dementia can be prevented, that dementia is not part of aging, and that early diagnosis is important. One of the risk factors for dementia is stress, and this presentation is here to help different carers, help them get ready for the holidays and hopefully have a stress-free holiday. So let's dive in. It's not very long, lots of practical tips, and I hope that you will enjoy it. So here we go, stress-free holiday tips. So I shared a little bit about us, a little bit more. We do provide support for carers of people living with dementia, and I would be happy to answer any questions at the end of the presentation. You're welcome to send it to us. These are our 3 aims, as I shared with you before. So the 25th of December is coming in really, really soon. Last year, we weren't able to celebrate with our family and friends. And this year, quite a lot of people are looking forward more than ever for a lovely Christmas holiday. So let's see what we can do. The very first thing that we can do is preparation. And I would say preparation is the key with anything and everything to do with helping a person living with dementia, understanding what is going to happen. So if it's taking them to a doctor appointment, to the dentist, to have a haircut, if someone new is coming to the house, preparation is the key. And preparation is the key also for the lovely Christmas holiday that is coming. So it's really important to keep a person living with dementia included and asking them to help you with the preparation. So they will also get into this holiday spirit. And it depends on the level of the progression of the disease. People living with dementia can help you with creating decorations. They can help you decorate cookies, cutting fruit, vegetables for the dinner. They can help you set the table. They can help even wrapping presents or even writing cards. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be done swiftly. It needs to be done with them. So they will experience the spirit of the holiday. It's important to involve the person living with dementia in the preparation for your actual party. So it really is important to repeat for as long as you can. I would even start today and share who is going to be invited to the party. And if you can add pictures or short videos of the people that are going to be invited to the party, people that were part of this individual's life, it's really, really important to use as many props as you can. Ooh, that person gave you this gift. Ooh, that person really likes drinking the same drink that you like. That person has this experience with you. You went together to this youth movement. It's really important to include a person living with dementia with the experience of who is going to be there. How long is the party going to be? Is it going to be all day? People are going to start coming in the morning, have a little bit of breakfast, then enjoy a lunch together, and then have a lovely big dinner together. How long people are going to be at the house and how long the routine is going to change for the person living with dementia. What will be the activity? Are those people coming in for a sing-along? They're coming for maybe charades game. Maybe they're coming for, having a lovely meal together. It's really important for the person living with dementia to understand what is the activity, what those people are going to do while they are going to be in their space, in their private space. And the last thing is to have a discussion what is expected of the person living with dementia. So I'm expecting you to smile. I'm expecting you to greet the people that are coming through the door. Maybe you can give the person living with dementia a few small chores. For example, for each person that comes through the door, please take their coat. For each person that comes through the door, please direct them to their seat. It's important for a person living with dementia, again, to feel included and to understand what is expected of them. I would repeat those 4 elements again and again and again and again. And even if you can, write them on cards, leave them on the refrigerator, maybe leave them at the entrance door, any place that the person living with dementia can notice them and can keep on repeating them, hopefully until maybe one of those elements will actually stay. It will really allow them to understand what is happening and also to be less anxious about the event. I think it will also help you feel less anxious about the event, because once we have this discussion, once we have this expectation discussion, we can communicate over things that we might think that maybe will not work. Maybe the person with dementia will say, well, actually, I don't want to meet that person. Maybe they will say, oh, that person doesn't make me feel very comfortable. Or they will say, I don't want that my job will be to take people to their seats. I don't want my job to be setting the table. I would like to do something else. And it is really, really important to have this discussion, to communicate over the preparation for the day before it happens and long before it happens, because the person living with dementia might change their mind quite a few times before the actual event. So in order for you not to be disappointed and in order for the person living with dementia to feel less anxious about the event, it's really important to communicate and repeat the same messages and agree on the same messages again and again and again. Now look at this table filled with food, so many colors, different foods, different textures. It's very overwhelming for a person living with dementia. So food-wise, it's really, really important that you will remember that the person living with dementia, maybe their taste around food changed. Yeah, and you probably have noticed it yourself. So maybe different foods that they liked eating before last Christmas or 3 Christmases ago, and it was their special dish, and you worked really, really hard to make that dish, and now they don't want to eat it. So you need to keep that at the back of your mind, that the person living with dementia, their flavor, their experience with food, with texture, with the temperature, with how hot or spicy the food they like can change. It's important that you will know that people living with dementia, if they're in the past were vegetarians, maybe now they would like to go back or try meat. It's really important that you will not have an argument, if you can possibly can, around food. Whatever the person living with dementia would like to eat at this festive event, then that is great. We're going back to preparation. It's good for you to share. These are the dishes that I'm about to make, or these are the dishes that are about to serve. What would you like from all these dishes? And if you're going to someone else's house, maybe it's good for you to just prepare a little plate for the person living with dementia with food that you know for sure that they would enjoy eating. Now, sometimes people living with dementia, according to the progression of the disease, might not be able to chew very well, might not be able to swallow very well. That is why the whole preparation around food is very, very important. We need to keep them safe. We need to make sure that they're also feeling included. Again, all this will lower the level of anxiety, will lower the level of stress around the event for you and for the person living with dementia. Around decorations. So it's really important to put the decorations up gradually, not to surprise the person living with dementia that maybe feels that it's around Easter time and all of a sudden we can see Christmas decorations, and that might scare them. Anything that shares the person living with dementia that reality is different than what they believe it to be can make them feel very anxious, and that is where we get different types of unpleasant behaviors. That is why it's really, really important to, again, include the person living with dementia And that is why it's important to put the decorations up gradually and talk about the holiday. Each day, a different topic. It can be food, it can be decorations, it can be special people that we're going to meet, or special activities that we're going to take part of. Okay? It's really important to understand that as dementia progresses, people living with dementia might look at decorations as food. So for example, on my tree, we have little cupcakes because I like baking. Those little cupcakes, to be honest, look really, really real. So for a person living with dementia, they might look at the tree, they might see those cupcakes, and they might give it a bite. So it's important to know that maybe leaving those decorations aside would really help a person living with dementia. If we have small decorations, small little elves, small little bears, small little trees, whichever tiny little decoration that you have, maybe it's good to take it away and not display it this year, because the person living with dementia, because their sensors are just different, they might want to try and taste it and put it in their mouth, and then there is a hazard of choking. So just please be minded when you're looking at your decorations, what are the things that are not safe, and try to maybe put them in a different place, or maybe just give up on them for this year. About guests. So we've been away from family and friends for the past 2 years, and a person living with dementia might have deteriorated quite a lot. And it's really, really vital for you to have that discussion with your guests. It's really important for the guests to know exactly what the situation is with the person living with dementia. It's important for them to know what are the triggers, what are the things that they should discuss, what are the things that they should not discuss. It's important for them to know not to ask the question, do you remember me? Do you remember when? Oh, how come you don't remember? Dementia is a very complicated disease. And since a person looks fine, it's very hard to comprehend that the brain is not fine. And the brain holds the answers to, do you remember? How come you don't remember me? How come you don't remember that experience? So it's very important for you to make sure that your guests will not ask questions. It's really important that your guests will know what are the triggers for the person living with dementia. It's really important for your guests to understand what stage the person living with dementia is at, so they won't feel stressed and anxious themselves, which of course will make the person living with dementia feel stressed and anxious. It's really important for you to spread the visits. It's very overwhelming for a person living with dementia, having their own routine, meeting maybe one person a week, to all of a sudden see a family of 10. So if you can, and if your family and friends can help you with this, it's better to spread the visits. So maybe 2 or 3 family members on one day, and then 2 or 3 on another day, and then 2 or 3 on the third day. It will help you, and it will help the person living with dementia enjoy the visit more. Spreading the visits out also means that maybe the visits shouldn't be very long. So each visit can be maybe 45 minutes up to an hour, to allow the person living with dementia to really enjoy and to take part of that meeting. So they will feel that they can engage in the conversation, that they can feel that they are part of that group that is meeting. More than 45 minutes or an hour, it's a very, very long time, and a person living with dementia might feel tired, and therefore will go to behaviors or say things that maybe they don't mean to, and behaviors that just shows you how anxious and tired they are. So if you can limit the time of each visit, then that would be really, really helpful as well. It is important for people that are coming into the house to respect the routines of the person living with dementia. So it means that if at a certain time the person living with dementia is going to take a nap, maybe not visit at that time. Or if a person living with dementia is having an early dinner, maybe the guests should also come and have the early dinner with the person living with dementia, and not try to have the dinner at 7 or at 8 in the evening when the person living with dementia is already very tired and definitely very, very hungry. Presence. So I was a little bit cheeky here, helping you ask for family and friends to give you a voucher. So they will tell you when they can help you during the next few weeks or the next few months. What is the time that they can give you so you will have respite? Okay, or what is the activity or the chore that they can take responsibility for, so you will be able to take care of yourself. So you'll be able to go and do maybe your nails, or maybe have a chat with a friend, or go to the hairdresser. So ask family and friends not to bring you any presents, but give you those vouchers. This is when I commit to provide you with help and support. For the person living with dementia, it's relatively easy. If they have pictures of the person living with dementia with them from 10, 15, 30 years ago, then that would be excellent. If they can frame it and they can bring it, that is an excellent gift. CDs or different movies or films that the person living with dementia likes, and if they can get their hands on it and bring it to the person living with dementia, that these are amazing gifts. Anything that can make the person living with dementia feel reassured within their own world will be a really, really excellent idea. So how do we help a person living with dementia relax? Obviously, stress is something that we all feel around the holiday, and I can really feel the stress building up in the air, and this is why I decided to release this video so early. If we can avoid arguments, if we can try to breathe in and breathe out and take our time, and maybe avoid conflict as much as we can. Maybe we can create an environment that doesn't have that much noise that overwhelms a person with dementia. That will help a person with dementia feel a little bit more relaxed, and it is when we're going closer and closer to the holiday period. Encourage a person living with dementia to take a nap and spend time in a quiet room. So if you have family and friends that are coming over for a longer period of time than 45 minutes or an hour, make sure that the person living with dementia will feel comfortable and empowered to say, well, thank you for coming. I now need to go and relax, take a nap, read a book, listen to the radio, whatever makes them feel more comfortable and more relaxed. And if you are going to visit somewhere else, please make sure that there is a room available for the person living with dementia where they can just take themselves out of a stressful situation, so they will feel less anxious. It will be a room without that much noise, without that many people, where the person living with dementia can just collect themselves and try and relax, okay? And as I suggested before, it's really important to stick to a bedtime routine. So even if someone else's dinner starts at around 8 and the person living with dementia goes to sleep at 8, then unfortunately, this is something that you can't participate. Maybe it's better for those people to come over to your house and you will start the dinner party a little bit earlier, so you and the person living with dementia will enjoy the event and the company of friends and family. On the day, I chose this picture because it is very noisy. I think you can hear the picture, not only see. So you can see that there is a lot of laughter. There are a lot of people around the table. There is a lot of food. So many things are happening at the same time. Look at all the lights. It's very overwhelming. And think of a person living with dementia. This picture is at least 100 times more overwhelming. They need to make sense of so many things that unfortunately their brain is not equipped of understanding, okay? We take it for granted that we understand this picture. Oh, this is a happy picture. This seems like a nice evening. But for a person living with dementia, there are just too many things here to understand, and the connections in the brain are unfortunately not as strong as they used to. So please make sure when you have such a lovely, happy event to include a person living with dementia. Now let's see what we can do. So it's really important not to expect the person living with dementia to wait until the food is being served. So to make sure that food is accessible throughout the day. So again, we can stick to the same routine. So if at 10 in the morning, we have tea and an apple, at 10 in the morning, the person living with dementia will still get their tea and apple. And if at noontime, the person with dementia is having a nice little lunch, then we're going to provide that lunch. And if at 1 o'clock, they're going to take a nap, make sure to give them the opportunity for a nap. It can be very chaotic on the day and people just kind of eat whenever they can. So it's important that the routine will stay as strict as possible. And again, and if you're going to someone else's house, make sure that you bring all those little items with you. If there's a special blanket or a special pillow that the person living with dementia likes more and makes them feel more comfortable, then make sure you'll bring it with you. During mealtime, make sure again that you will remove any object that is non-food, okay? So napkins or flowers or different beautiful shiny decorations that might look like food that are on the table, try to maybe take them away from the reach of a person living with dementia, okay? It's really important to have sufficient amount of light because as we said, the senses are not the same. And therefore, sometimes people for special occasions dim the light and put some lovely candles on the table, which is beautiful. And it's just, that's what Christmas is about, to have this magnificent, beautiful, different, special event. But for the person living with dementia, it means that they might not be able to see the food on their plate, or they might not be able to locate the fork and the knife. And that will make them feel very, very anxious. And we will have different behaviors which we're trying to avoid. So if we can make sure that the person living with dementia is maybe closer to a source of light and they can see their plate properly, then that would be great. It's important to try and season and spice the food in the kitchen and not to do it on the table, because again, a person living with dementia might overspice their food because the sound is interesting, because the movement is interesting, but they are not really comprehending what they're doing. They don't really understand that now their food is going to be very, very salty or very, very spicy. So if you can take these the spices out of the table and make sure that everyone will season their meals in the kitchen, then that is something that will help. A person living with dementia can struggle to follow a conversation. So there is a lot of noise, there's a lot of movement, the light is different. You can understand, and probably new smells, you can understand that it's very overwhelming. So if you can make sure, and maybe you're just tired of doing this all the time, make sure that there is a family member, that there is a friend that will sit next to the person living with dementia and include them in the conversation. Make sure that they know not to ask questions of, do you remember, or what's your opinion, and put them on the spot, but include them in a very nice way. Are you enjoying your meal? How does that taste for you? I remember that we used to play that game. And I remember that you used to cheat and we were used to laugh about it. And just make sure that the person sitting next to the person living with dementia can share different anecdotes around the conversation that is around the table. And make sure that part of your preparation with the guests, that they will be able to raise different subjects to discuss around the table that can include the person living with dementia. Hugs and kisses. So just imagine that I'm now going to get up and give you a kiss and a hug. Well, you don't know me. How would that make you feel? It's really, really important to see if the person living with dementia, if they are initiating a kiss and a hug, then that means that they recognize the person, and they feel comfortable enough with that person to allow them to go into their very personal space, okay? Please don't tell a person living with dementia, oh, that's your grandchild. How come you're not giving them a hug and a kiss? Or that's Auntie Susie. How come you're not giving her a hug and a kiss? Avoid it. If a person living with dementia feels comfortable and they would like to give someone a hug or a kiss or both, then that's great. Don't force it on them. General tips. If you can, please keep things simple and familiar. Keeping things familiar, as we discussed before, if you gradually put the decorations, then the environment will become familiar, okay? It's really important to get everyone involved, children and adults. Everyone should know what they can and maybe should avoid with a person living with dementia. It's important, as I said before, to create a quiet room. The senses are going to be overwhelmed. So many different and amazing things are going to happen around this holiday. And it's really, really important for the person living with dementia to know that they can go to a different room and collect their thoughts and feelings, okay? It's important to find a few subjects, as I said before, that will bring in old memories. If you can reduce noise of TV or party poppers or music or shouting, I know that family gatherings can be really overwhelming noise-wise, and if people can just take it notch down, then that would be great. And if you can, and you prepared everything in advance, make sure that you keep the day manageable. So maybe you want to have 6 different desserts, and you want to have 7 different mains, and you want to have 13 salads on the table, and for different decorations, and really go wild like you would like to, and like maybe you used to. Make sure that you really can manage it. And if these things don't make you happy and makes you even more stressed, then maybe this year ask for help. Or maybe this year there will be 3 desserts. Or maybe this year there will be 2 salads, but it will still be magical and it will still be enjoyable because you will be less stressed and you will be less anxious, and things will feel more manageable for you. So, golden rules. Let's see how we can wrap it up. That's almost the end. So the very first thing is to make sure that you are always working to the person living with dementia best interest. What does that mean? They don't have to hug and kiss everyone. They don't need to like all types of food. They don't need to sit the entire duration of the dinner. They don't need to engage with everyone in different conversation. Everyone needs to make sure that they will make the person living with dementia feel comfortable and follow their cues around what makes them comfortable and what makes them anxious, and therefore increase their stress levels. And also will make you feel anxious and will increase your stress levels. It's really important for you to be flexible, okay? It might not be exactly what you hope and dream for this holiday to be, but it can be successful, it can be manageable, it can be stress-free. So keeping an open mind is really, really important. It's always worth having plan B. What does that mean? If a person living with dementia at the very last minute feels very anxious leaving their house, if they didn't sleep very well that night, or maybe they developed some sort of infection, try to see if you can create a plan B and make sure that you share the option of plan B with family and friends. So we are invited to your house on Saturday morning, but we might not be able to gather. Would you be able to come to our house instead? Because I would still want to have this great event with you. I would still like to have this lovely day with you. So would you be able to come to ours? So this is really, really important to make sure that we create a plan B, but you also communicate the plan B. Don't be harder on yourself. as I said before, it's really important to keep your needs in the center, okay? Forget about everyone else's needs. Your needs come first, which means if a person living with dementia is manageable according to their routine, if they are stress-free, if they are not anxious, it means that you're not anxious. So make sure that whatever you do, whichever activity or party that you join or people that are coming to your house, make sure not to be hard on yourself. This is what I can do today. And that is the best version of myself today. Okay, so please remember that. You are doing an amazing job, a very hard job. No one can understand how hard it is for you. Only you know how hard it is. And please be kind to yourself and make sure that you're not hard on yourself. Don't build these big expectations around the holiday. Yes, it is important, but you are equally important. Give yourself a break. So if you believe that things are getting a little bit overwhelming, a little bit out of control, just decide, okay, I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to take a walk outside, okay? Or make sure that you have a friend or family member that can come in and take care of things for you for a short period of time, so you'll be able to collect your thoughts. Keep things simple, don't overdo it. As I said before, routines are important. Familiarity is important. Things that you've done in the past and kept the person living with dementia feel happy and supported, these are the most important things. It's important to trust your instincts. So if you feel that it's too many people that you've invited for one of the meals, then you know it is too many people. And it's important to communicate with the people that you're not inviting to say, I'm really sorry, maybe you can come for tea, but I'm not sure that you can come for this meal. First of all, I will feel overwhelmed, and I believe that the person living with dementia will feel overwhelmed, and therefore we both will not enjoy the meeting with you. So it's really, really important to keep on communicating and trust your instinct. Enjoy yourself. This is such a beautiful time in the year. I really do hope that you will be able to implement even some of those practical tips. And I hope that you will be able to have a fun and a festive time. So as I shared with you before, if you have any questions, thoughts, any ideas that you want to share with me, this is my email. And I would be more than happy to support you and to answer and in general, be there for you. So I'm wishing you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, stress-free Christmas. Don't forget to keep enjoying yourself and to take care of yourself. Bye now.